Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth and final round here at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge presented by InnovaDisc. I'm your host Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Joined alongside me is our 2009 World Champion Avery Jenkins. Avery, we've got a treat for everyone. 5 competitors here and a pretty tight match. What should we see today?
This is extremely exciting. We have a action-packed group. We have one leader up by a good handful of strokes, and we have 4 aggressive players right behind them. I can't wait to see the action. There's going to be some explosive battle today. Beautiful day.
Final round.
Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge presented by Innova Champion Discs. Today we are playing the Innova Champion course. This is our lead card. First on the tee, 2016 World Champion, Wysocki.
Wysocki hanging out hyzer, wide right side, getting a skip back to the fairway, should be in bounds. Gonna be a long look from there. They're waiting for it to finish.
Your 2016 Masters World Champion, JohnE McCray.
And JohnE McCray on the tee. Ripping a power shot right up the center, getting a little kick, and we'll wait for a delayed reaction, possibly from the gallery. Seems to be safe.
And the Piney Woods Open, Eagle McMahon.
Avery, this hole is 434 feet. Eagle going at it with a forehand. We're going to see if that sits down on the hillside.
Next up, 4-time world champion, Paul McBeth.
And just before Paul's tee shot, we felt a gentle breeze that is carrying right, but a little kick off the hillside left. He'll have a putt from there.
Your 2016 USDGC champion, Jeremy Colling. Take time.
Don't mind us. Colling going direct line with a high-speed driver, hanging it out right, going right at the basket. Hyzer's out left and skips down the hill, playing it very aggressive on hole 1.
Big Germ throwing up and over this 434-foot shot.
Good luck, gentlemen.
As expected, Avery, there is a sizable gallery out here following along with this leader card today. Looks like we're going to be again blessed with gorgeous weather, light winds, not a cloud in the sky. Oh, sorry, I've spotted 2.
Ooh.
2 small ones. However, it looks to be a great day. We know our players are going to be aggressive. Everyone's going to be trying to hunt down Wysocki. Would you say there's more than enough holes to do that, or no?
to hunt this guy down with this kind of lead, it's going to be tough. These guys have a lot of work ahead of them, but these are all some of the most spectacular world-class players, aggressive players, and on a course like this, everything's in reach. Even some of those par fours, as Eagle displayed yesterday, are eagleable. So it could happen. We'll see what happens.
And just as I had mentioned, the wind, we feel it pick up a little bit. Moving over to Eagle McMahon's lie. I believe he'll have to decide if he or Big Germ are actually out. It looks like Big Germ's a little further away. Germ's going to have a little bit of a left to right wind here pushing. He's going to be just looking to get this close, put it on the basket, and move on with a 3. And wowing the gallery on the first shot. Certainly a aggressive play on this uphill hole.
Eagle also leaving it low, headwind kind of picking up, uphill putt. These players are a little farther out than expected on a hole this reachable. McBeth low as well, a little misread on the headwind. We got Ricky Wysocki backside, just inside the circle. Got a late skip on that drive. That's what the crowd had a late reaction on.
And Ricky's going to need to draw metal on this, otherwise he's going to be giving up an extra stroke. And he's done just that. I was quite surprised he actually missed that. However, if you did not draw metal and get a stop, that thing was going to roll all the way down the hill. JohnE McCray with a similar line. It's a little bit higher up on the hillside. Again, he's going to want to make sure he puts this in because it's danger directly behind that pin.
All players giving it a chance, but then dropping low. Just with this little winds, it's like variable, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. Temperatures in the high to low 60s right now, so this is the best weather we've experienced and saw this entire week, and showed up in perfect timing for the final round.
And McBeth, worth noting, is the slight straddle stance. We saw that late in the round yesterday. We also saw it throughout his injury last year, so we'll have to see if that is any kind of influence to his putting right now. And we're going to watch our group all tap in. Surprisingly, we see 5 pars here on the opening hole. Avery will be back in a few moments as we move over to hole 2 right here at the Gentlemen's Club Challenge. Wysocki with a forehand here on hole number 2, 258 feet.
Yeah.
A pure shot by JohnE McCray with his gauntlet. Going out and around everything with a huge hyzer is Eagle McMahon. It's going to finish on the right side. McBeth with a McPro Rock 3. And 5 relatively different shots here, Avery. This tee pad is somewhat small and congested, we'll say, hence the silence during their run-ups and throw. Looked like there's some very effective routes. Eagle McMahon, Paul McBeth going right over the top of the horse, and JohnE McCray throwing a putter. Looked beautiful.
Yeah, as we talk about this 3-course complex on one golf course, a lot of space, but obviously we got to use that space wisely, and by pulling a disc golf hole off to the side here, using kind of pea gravel, you know, for one of our fairways, worked out pretty ideal. And like I said, from my vantage point, Paul McBeth threw that shot right over that silver horse for the Wild Horse Golf Club.
Trying to make this more than a one-horse race. Nice little turnover by Big Germ. However, it looks like he maybe misread that a little bit as he released the Nova. And big, wow, what a huge putt by Ricky Wysocki. One knee, about halfway there, he knew it was in. He had to get up and run after it.
Ricky going dagger with a dagger from 50 feet off the ground. Clutch.
And we are. And big, wow, what a huge putt by and Big Germ's long straddle out to the left side. I think that tree was just a little bit too much in his head. He clearly had room to get around it, but the tree was maybe played in too much. And as Eagle taps in, McBeth will do the same, and what a score distribution here. We see Big Germ with the lone bogey and the other 4 all with 2s.
Yeah, 2-stroke swing on this hole is not what you want to see at 258 feet. Germ did not want to even expect to missed that kind of hole, and everybody else played it textbook, drop-in birdies for most, and a 50-foot putt for the other.
As expected with Wysocki. We'll move on to hole 3.
I'll take the law into my own hands. I don't care if nobody understands. I'll take the law into my own hands. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say.
Hole number 3, 237 feet, a very diabolical but very deceiving hole at this distance. Lots of danger, lots of OB left, and a very small landing zone around the basket. Little hop, skip, and a jump. JohnE Mac going fan skip across the OB, trying to get the distance, and comes up short. Long side will go drop zone from there.
Eagle McMahon with a what seems to be routine hyzer shot. That'll work for him. He gets the green flag, and the gallery approves. McBeth with a sharp edge hanging wide right. Gonna wait for a flag from the spotter. And it looks like he's gonna get marked with an OB flag. And proving just how comfortable he is with a forehand, Big Germ goes out and to the left and gets the green flag. Avery, do you feel like that's the shot you'd play there?
If I had a forehand like that, absolutely. No, that was a very clean, touchy forehand by Big Germ, going non-conventional route over the entire OB. Now, something to note on this hole, it actually has 2 different OB rules. So any shot that finishes short or left OB goes directly to the drop zone. Any shot that goes long across the path actually goes to where it was last in bounds. So that shot you saw by McBeth skipping long, he'll actually take it where it was last in bounds. And then JohnE Mac never making it past the OB short side goes directly to the drop zone. So this is a very different circumstance and situation on a very short technical par 3.
Avery, as you said, JohnE McCray going to the drop zone and approaching from there. He's got the green flag.
I think the main reason why they changed that rule and forced different OBs in different areas is to really encourage players to go for this green. Being a very small green, very tight little peninsula, as you'll see here, and McBeth played just that. He'll get a chance at circle 3.
And this will be Paul McBeth for a chance at penalty 3 here on hole number 3. And McBeth is able to salvage the 3. Easy cleanup for Ricky Wysocki. Big Germ left with the birdie opportunity here. Oh, and Big German's going to stand down. It seems as if Johnny McCray is possibly out, and he is. We'll see if Johnny McCray is able to use a traditional putt or if we'll see one of his famous turbo putts. Here we go. And rarely do you see Johnny McCray miss a turbo putt from inside 30 feet. He is, of course, famous for those, and certainly the most proficient player to ever throw one.
Yeah, he was caught in a tough position there, pushed up against that little pine about 7 feet from the basket. Very similar to something we saw here as scoring differential. Posse here on Thursday, or it was actually Friday, got hung up, threw OB, took a 5 while other players birdied this hole. Johnny Mac giving up 3 strokes to Eagle McMahon and Jeremy Colling on hole number 3.
Short but technical. Let's move on to hole 4.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flash Flight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
Not even.
Hole number 4, 375 feet. Eagle going power hyzer. Not too much danger in the fairway. There is a path long of the basket that is OB, but for the most part, these players can play aggressive and attack this hole.
Big Germ, after a reset, was trying to get his footing in place. However, with a slight uphill run up here and some shrubbery behind the tee, seemed as if it was giving him a little more challenge than expected. This is rookie Wysocki.
Yeah, pretty difficult situation here we're dealing with. We have various tee pads out here and teeing surfaces, and they're teeing off this kind of pebble or kind of gravel. It's the equivalent of teeing off marbles. Trying to get the power to 375 is pretty tough right now.
And McBeth seems to have a great line here, and he checks up just left of the pin. And noting that both Johnny McCray and Paul McBeth used the rubber mat teeing area. However, the other three competitors on the card did not. And Avery, as we were saying, there's a slight uphill slope to the tee area. Not only does it have a little bit different texture to it, you do have the option of using the more gravelly area or the mat area. However, the upward slope, that factors in as well.
Yeah, personally not my favorite to have so much variation within the tee pads. I wish there was a standard where we had all 18 tee pads being the same. But in this instance, when we're playing a temporary course on a golf course, we do have that variation and variety. So players do have that option of teeing off the dirt gravel or the tee pad. It's really a personal preference to how you throw, and if you use a lot of legs in your technique and throwing motion, that's where a lot of players get their power. So if you do have a slip, it will affect your shot, as you saw with Coling and Ricky Wysocki.
And a layup of sorts by Ricky Wysocki. You always have to assume he's running just about everything he throws up toward the pin. And Avery, we see Big Germ pacing towards the basket. Should he have brought his metal detector? What is he doing out there?
He's checking the surface. I'm trying to see this backside drop. It's kind of a death putt here, especially on these rolling hills. Basket perched up here pretty good, and you do got a tailwind to account for. So backside about 28 feet. Looking to leave it a little high. Make sure you give it the velocity and give it a chance to go in.
And just off the front of the rim, Coling leaves it a little bit short. Solid putt by Johnny McCray, uphill, never a doubt. Johnny McCray looked a little bit low out of his hand off that tee, but it scooted up here onto the hillside, and he's got about the same distance as we see Eagle McMahon also going for birdie. That looked a little low, just not catching enough chain on that left side, Avery.
And looking back at Johnny Mac's putt, I love watching his putt, his form, his exaggerated follow-through, which, he makes sure it gets up and over the rim, and he did just that. And Paul McBeth with an easy tap in for birdie as well.
Pair of birdies and 3 pars. We're going to move on. Stay tuned. You're watching the Gentlemen's Club Challenge presented by InnovaDisc.
You deserve an elite golf experience. Take an epic journey through the best landscapes Las Vegas has to offer. Experience 144 holes of spectacular golf at our 6 professionally designed championship courses, featuring Spanish Trail Country Club, Mountain Falls Golf Club, and Wild Horse Golf Club. All about elite golf packages for locals and tourists. Elite Golf, the new face of golf management. Book your tee time today.
nearly 550 feet here, Avery. Is McBeth going to get enough to get up on that left side?
He absolutely unleashed on that shot, cleared the green, and I believe it is inbounds on the backside, at least pin high. Maybe looking at a birdie attempt. It is a par 3, a very long par 3.
And a very different approach here by Johnny McCray. That looks as if it's essentially a layup off the tee, trying to avoid any out-of-bounds area. What's he throwing there, Avery?
I believe that was a C-line PD. That was a King Masher route right there, going up above the tree, catching a late tree and kicking back in. There's a lot to avoid down there. There's a bunker and a massive green, and he's trying to take all out of play while going over the top.
And Ricky playing also what seems to be a little bit more of a conservative effort here. And immediately out of his hand, Big Germ lets out a germ-like grunt of sorts. I don't think he was exactly pleased with his effort there. We'll be checking in with the scores as much as possible. We'll also encourage you to go ahead and follow along on pdgalive.com. A little later in the show, we'll show you the final hole of the women's showdown that took place just a few hours ago. We won't spoil it for you yet in case you've been out there and hadn't taken a look. But we'll bring you the final few shots and catch up with the winner from this morning's women's division. Johnny McCray will be first to throw his approach shot. Again, Avery saying this is a long par 3 measuring in over 500 feet. And a little skip off the short grass green that they're playing over. Seems as if that is in fact gone long and out of bounds behind the basket. Johnny McCray not putting a lot on that. Not sure if he just underestimated the skip he was going to get. However, he will find himself OB and long of the pin.
Yeah, a few things to take into account here. We do have the bunker short. We have the green short to the right. And the basket's on a mound with a very fast green OB long of the pin.
Wysocki faced with a light headwind, no more than 5 miles an hour. That skips short of the pin, and he gets a safe indication. Big Germ's going to go with a forehand. Again, Germ not happy with his effort, giving himself a little pep talk.
He caught a late branch that possibly may have kicked him back to the pin. I didn't see any indication if he's safe or OB, but he did catch a late branch, and that could have saved him.
And as we move through the first third of the course, we're seeing no signs of Ricky Wysocki letting up. Of course, maintaining as we're going to be rounding out. He's sitting on a 5-stroke lead. Eagle McMahon's crush puts him within 45, maybe 50 feet of the pin with a slight uphill and a little bit of obstruction on this left side.
A rare play. I was expecting maybe a little more aggressive run at this, but we do have a lot of wind kind of swirling back here in the trees. Lots of OB everywhere. I think he's just going to take his lumps and lay it up there for an easy 3 as other players are struggling to keep it in bounds.
And McBeth has also gone OB from his tee shot. If he can capitalize here, he would be saving a par. He's, of course, assessed a single-stroke penalty for going OB. Oh, I may be corrected. I apologize. Looks like they may be giving Jenny McCray a spot. We'll have to see exactly where McBeth had landed. And just before his putt, we feel the stiffest wind of the round, a very significant left to right, as McCray had to attempt to keep that under the tree branch, but get it up and over the basket. This is McBeth from a similar position, just a few steps closer. And short is McBeth's effort. Ricky Wysocki doesn't have too much work left here. He's going to be putting uphill. However, he's going to have inbounds behind him as opposed to a few of the other players that had the OB directly behind him.
Ricky Wysocki, a phenomenal putter, proving that early in the round and maintaining that 5-stroke lead.
And Big Germ again faced with a little bit of an awkward stance here. He's going to check his lie and his footing, and he's reaching out to the left side with a straddle, and his right calf is actually propped up against the tree. Making sure he has a legal stance. A little more challenging than he was hoping for here on this par putt.
Dead center and in to save the 3 after a possible pulled shot. Like I said, that late branch, I don't think he saw it actually keep him bounds and give him that par opportunity.
And we'll have a brief walk. Thank you for tuning in to our live coverage here at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Hello everyone and welcome back. We are here for a little bit of a backup. We are on this 6th hole, Avery Jenkins, and what have we seen thus far in the first 5 holes?
Thus far, we've seen some excellent putting, a couple miscues on some of the easier, shorter holes by a few, but Ricky Wysocki still playing strong, being patient, and maintaining a 5-throw lead.
All right, well, really no surprise there with how consistent Ricky is. He's playing well. We're going to see if he can maintain throughout. We do have a special treat for you, so if you're not interested in learning what happened on the women's side, you're going to want to go ahead and step away for the next 3 minutes. We're going to bring you the final few shots from the women's coverage that took place just a couple of hours ago. We caught up with them in the middle of hole 18. I tried to call all the shots from there on out. So let's cut to it right now. This is the final of the women's coverage from just a few hours ago with Smashbox TV. We'll be back with you in just a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to hole number 18 as we are watching the women's division complete their round here. The 4th and final round, of course. We've just seen Katrina Allen throw her approach shot to within 12 feet of the basket. Jennifer Allen has thrown her second shot. Found herself on the fringe of the golf green. I believe she was in fact inbound. She was just taking her 1 meter from the edge of the golf green, which is what indicates the OB area. Jennifer Allen had started in 2nd place coming into this final round. However, as we've seen on the live scoring, Katrina Allen making a charge as Paige Pierce had a comfortable lead this morning but struggled throughout the middle of the round. And a simple layup there by Paige Pierce. And a solid round here by Katrina Allen, however, not enough to run down Paige Pierce in this opening National Tour event. Jennifer Allen will tap in. Evelina will also tap in. And we'll move in as Paige Pierce is going to be crowned our National Tour opening event winner.
Applause for your 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge Women's Champion, Paige Pierce.
And Michael Downs with the call, announcing to everyone that Paige Pierce is our winner. Paige receiving some congratulatory hugs from her teammates over at Dynamic Disc. Scoring will take place here on the final hole in just a few moments, and then maybe we'll be able to catch up with Paige And we'll be back with you here shortly after the scores are completed. We're watching the final hole coverage right here of the women at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge. And welcome back as we've stepped away for a moment to watch that final hole of coverage. We also see our leader card. They're completing hole number 6. And we have our second card putting out on the green of 7 at the moment. I believe hole 6 resulted in 4 birdies and a par. And they'll be catching up with us in a moment. Again, seeing second card tap out here on the 7th hole. Avery, the 7th hole looks like a little bit of a monster considering the OB that's out there. 560 feet, par 4. Sand traps, water, it's got everything.
Yeah, it's 10 feet longer than the hole previous to the last, being hole 5 at 550. This one's 560, but it plays a par 4 just because of difficulty with the OB. You have to cross over water on the first big tee shot, but then you have a golf green on the other side. The play is trying to leave it left, trying to keep it in bounds. We've got a bunker, we've got a path on the outside left side. Across that path is actually in bounds. There's a second path to the left that they consider out of bounds. So a lot of action going on here. There has been a spot in the round where there's been multiple backups throughout the week. PDJ, Mike Downs out here cleaning things up, putting a little more time between the tee times and alleviating some of that weight. So we're here almost ready to go as we watch out the second card tapping out for their hole 7, and we're ready to tee it up on the lead card.
A little later in the broadcast, we'll of course catch up with our women's winner. I think she'll be stepping inside so that she can give us an update as to how she feels coming off this opening national tour victory here in the Las Vegas area. While we're here, we'd like to go ahead and thank the Wild Horse Golf Club for hosting us for this week, as well as the collaborative efforts on the media teams by Central Coast, Spin TV, and Smashbox TV. Big Germ trying to get a consistent wind read here. Looks to be right to left. And that turned over and is not coming back as Big Germ throws out into the water on the right side of the pin. And McBeth going with one of his McBeefy destroyers.
Wow.
Wow. Avery, that was one heck of a toss by Paul McBeth. Johnny McCray looking to duplicate McBeth's efforts. He wants to keep that out of the sand trap and has done just that.
Pair of beautiful shots there. Paul absolutely unloading on a shot, going 560 plus, skipping right past the pole on this long par 4. Same thing from Eagle, trying to get the straight carry. Does hyzer out left and goes sand trap. I'm not sure, maybe it skipped out or stayed in there. Getting some applause from the tee pad. We'll have to see when we work our way down to the basket. Ricky Wysocki making the smart play with the lead. Heisern out left. Skips past that first initial path, but he's still in bounds with a pretty open attempt at the approach shot.
And as we move up to Big Germ's OB shot, he'll be throwing next. I wanted to catch up quickly with the voice of Central Coast Disc Golf, Ian Anderson. Ian, you guys are out here busting your chops, put out coverage of both the men and the women's lead card.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Terry. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, little 18, 20-hour days, you know, it's the life. Gotta love it.
And, of course, make sure you go out and watch Everything's on Spin TV, with the backbone being Ian and his crew of Central Coast, providing the shot-by-shot coverage with a mixture of commentators throughout. I'd like to thank Central Coast for doing such an amazing job here this week. And calling ops for the forehand, which is heading toward the sand trap, unfortunately lands in the center.
That was actually a wise play by him, though. First shot going OB, taking relief and getting way back here. Looked about 375, maybe 400-foot shot. He goes forehand, lands in the bunker to the short left side, but as the bunkers play here, you play from where it lies, and you play from it there. He's got about a 15-footer into the headwind, and really, if you left it any other side, there's a lot of OB, a lot of other bad things that could happen. I think the smart play was to put it that close, even though he's taking a stroke penalty within the bunker.
Big Germ coming into this hole 7, sitting at 19 under par. And as we said earlier, there's a lot of people everyone here is trying to run down Ricky Wysocki, but that's going to require not only amazing play by the competitors, but also some kind of falter by Wysocki, and he's just simply not known for that.
Absolutely, very strong competitor, strong with the putter, obviously keeping all his shots in bound. And the one thing that does bode well for the other competitors trying to chase him down is the wind's picking up, and that's another factor that could contribute to maybe picking up a few strokes here in the front 9.
And although this is over the cart path, it is far enough down the fairway that this is not considered an OB area. Is that correct, Avery?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
And that wanted to roll back toward the sand trap. However, he's going to stay on top, and he's going to have an easy tap in 3.
5 players on the beach here. We have 3 players playing their next shots from the out-of-bounds bunker here. Like I said, they'll play from where it lies with that 1-stroke penalty.
And really, that's the best that McCray could hope for here. Again, with this basket perched up on a little bit of a hillside, you get too aggressive, that could easily roll OB behind it or possibly back into the bunker. And I may have inadvertently foreshadowed exactly that right off the front of the basket. Looked good. It had a great chance to go in, just a few inches short, and rolls backside. He'll play it from there, but be assessed yet another penalty, and that's going to punish Eagle McMahon drastically. Here's Paul McBeth for an opportunity at a 2. What a display of power and putting. Paul McBeth right here with the 2. Colling's anxious to move off of hole 7, as will be Eagle McMahon. Ricky will tap in.
I was going to mention something before Paul dropped down to Eagle 2 was, you know, you're not losing too many strokes if you take a par on this hole, being a short par 4. But if the guy's taking an eagle on this hole, that's absolutely the case.
We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsor right here at the 2017 GCC.
Paul McBeth, nice laser shot, nice and low, looking for a late skip. Looks to be on line. And gets a good reaction from the crowd down by the basket.
And Wysocki seemed to have pulled that right. It's not going to get quite the action that we saw by McBeth.
Johnny Mac trying to make the corrections as the wind did pick up. He hyzers left side on the 400-foot 8th hole.
Big germ with an overhand.
I think he was just playing for position there. It's 400 feet. It is a slight downhill. The basket is blind, but you can see the flag stick and the flag kind of waving in the distance. OB to the left side and long of the green.
McMahon going with a putter of sorts.
Wow.
And as that is slowly filtering toward the pin, Avery Jenkins, you caught up in. Avery, just before the round started today, he talked about his play and his game plan. Let's see what he had to say just before the start of the round.
Catching up with Eagle McMahon, getting ready for the fourth and final round here at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge. Eagle, how you feeling? How's the confidence? How's the focus? How you feeling today?
Focus and confidence is good, but otherwise I feel a little stuffy right now. This dry climate and just the Vegas grime, it's just kind of getting to me a little bit, but I think I'll feel good enough for this round.
So you're currently 6 strokes back of the lead. Wysocki current leader, and you're 1 stroke back of second, JohnE McCray. What's your game plan today?
I mean, today on this course there's a lot of risk and reward, and I'm going all out, full aggressive. Every par 4 pretty much I can drive, so I'll be running everything. I'm gonna try to put on a show out there today.
Wow, really looking forward to seeing that. Now, yesterday, final hole, just shy of 600 feet, par 4, you unleashed a mammoth drive, ended up eagling that hole to finish the round, actually hopping Paul McBeth for 3rd place. How are you going to use that momentum going into this round?
I mean, just throwing that shot just shows my confidence with my distance shots right now. So just going to carry that confidence over this round, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Looking forward to the aggressive play. All the best to you this round. Tear it up. Good luck.
And Ricky Wysocki throws up a long prayer, even for his standards. He's just left of the pin. Big Germ is just a few feet closer than Wysocki. And Big Germ, what was the effort there?
Very little. He gave a little chuckle after his attempt, kind of putt approach, sloppy little thing that he just threw up by the basket, and laughed afterwards.
And McMahon, who had thrown a putter off the tee, looks to have gone long. And he's going to be putting back at the basket.
He just said he went long on a 400-foot shot with a putter. Unreal.
I mean, it was downhill.
Yeah.
I could do that in 2 throws. Right into the center of the chains. Eagle is very frustrated with that after going long. But, however, saving the shot with a great putt. We'll have to see where JohnE McCray is on the left side and short of the pin. And McCray, who may have actually been out prior to McMahon's putt, comes in a little bit high off the belt.
As we look longside basket, we can see Paul McBeth's drives in the shadow of the basket for an easy tap in on hole number 8.
And again, approves, of course. We're almost halfway through the round. JohnE McCray will tap in. We have this fivesome battling it out. We'll be back in a few moments right here at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job. Go in. Oh.
For me, it's all about the exercise.
For me, it fits into my busy lifestyle.
For me, it's my passion.
For us, it doesn't cost much to play.
For me, it's fun.
Welcome back, everyone, to hole number 9, measuring in at 538 feet.
Right here? Yeah?
That's good. Yes. Good. All good.
And just barely missing that tree is Paul McBeth throwing what should be filtering left. The gallery is waiting for the applause, and they're going to give it. Again, 538 feet, Avery. And Wysocki, who is currently sitting on a 4-stroke lead over the charging Paul McBeth. Big Germ is third to throw. Looks like Big Germ's back leg may have slipped out a little from him. However, the effectiveness of the shot seemed to work out just fine.
.540-foot par 3. Eagle unleashes on it with a C-line PD2. And the crowd likes it.
Whoa, one more. We got 5 some. Did he hit metal?
And JohnE McCray walking back from the tee saying no respect. Certainly frustrated that there's a 5-some of players out here and not the rest of the players not recalling and recognizing that they still had JohnE to tee 5th here. He was certainly frustrated by that movement here as the gallery, the players, including Ricky, kind of took off right after the 4th tee shot, which, in all fairness, Avery, is how many players there's normally on a tee cart or on a tee.
Yeah, in this situation at a big tournament national tour, there's foursomes, and in this case, with a cut, with the field actually eliminating a lot of tee times, they bunched in some players, some ties at the back end, and decided to go 5-some on the lead card in both Open and Masters. So out of the ordinary a little bit, but they're going to have to deal with it. And we do get another golfer on the card, being Big Germ, moving up from the top of the 2nd and getting the validation to make the lead card for this 4th and final round. Reports as we're making our way down the fairway that we did hear a slight cling or a metal hit. That was Eagle's shot that actually did draw metal on the 540-foot par 3.
One of my favorite responses to something like that is adequate. And Avery, there is in fact a sand trap located directly behind this pin. So people like even the aggressive Ricky Wysocki, he doesn't really have any room to run at this. He's going to be placing this right next to the pin and walking off with a par 3 just like that.
I was actually waiting for him to jam that and call you wrong.
I think you should know better than that by now, Avery. Come on.
Still got 9 more holes to go.
And McCray, maybe a little chuckle at himself for some of his effort there. Seems to be frustrated again. He's going to have to shake that off, unfortunately, with the players moving on the tee on the previous hole. Again, the only smart play here for Big Germ is to just simply lay this up next to the basket. And in trying to give it almost a half run, maybe trying to dump it in, he left himself with a tester. It's 18 feet, but anytime you're within 5, you're going to be that much more comfortable. Paul McBeth is going to do just that. Take a look at how close the sand trap is behind the pin. He's left with about 45, maybe 50 feet at most. I'm going to call it 45 feet. He has no more than 10 feet behind the pin. I think he's going to run this.
McBeth making the wise choice in this situation. 5 strokes back, 9 holes to play. Doesn't feel like taking the chances right now.
Avery, that would have been the time you said, there you go, Terry, you're wrong.
Colin McCray tapping their par putts as Eagle taps into birdie. Eagle gaining a stroke on the card as everybody doesn't want to take their chances. They lay up on hole number 9 as Eagle draws metal from the tee pad, rejects back off the pin, and hits the birdie putt anyway. We'll come back to you guys in a brief second as we move on to the back 9.
You deserve an elite golf experience. Take an epic journey through the best landscapes Las Vegas has to offer. Experience 144 holes of spectacular golf at our 6 professionally designed championship courses, featuring Spanish Trail Country Club, Mountain Falls Golf Club, and Wild Horse Golf Club. Call about elite golf packages for locals and tourists. Elite Golf, the new face of golf management. Book your tee time today.
I'll take the law into my own hands. I don't care if nobody understands. I'll take the law into my own hands. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say.
Man, I don't know why mine's running fresh or something then. Still 4, 4, 4 and a 6. Okay. Alley store.
Downs is the one putting them in. So
Yeah.
if you ever have a question, grab them. Okay. I've been driving all over the course, checking for backup areas. There's not one there.
Here we are on hole number 10, par 4, 715 feet. OB right and left. Pretty sizable fairway, though. It's a big golf fairway. And we do have one green to avoid, about 90% down the fairway. So tee shots getting to the front edge of that. It's going to be a perfect unleash. But I think a lot of players are just going to try to get down position, try to get down the fairway, and then attack on the second shot to get this par 4. Again, a beautiful day in Las Vegas. Temperatures in the low 60s. Clear skies, slightly breezy, and a great day for disc golf. Eagle McMahon with a bomb. They're still following. They're still tracking it. No respect. And they're saying inbounds way down there. He's hoping a little more right. That's down left side, but incredible distance by Eagle. McBeth getting up on one, a slight turn in between a roller and a turnover. Does stay in bounds. I guess he just had avoided that bunker. McBeth 4 strokes back over the last 4 holes. He had 2 birdies and an eagle on hole number 7. Current leader Ricky Wysocki up by 5 strokes over trailing Paul McBeth. Down the middle, good line, good height. Didn't hear the result on the finish. We'll find out when we get down there. Another run-up and another stop by Jeremy Colling. Not very comfortable on these tee pads today. A lot of teen surfaces like we discussed with natural to gravel to cement path. Getting a roller, trying to get it tall and get it to stand up. Paul McBeth said it's a road runner and looking for it to run. Through the bunker and out. Still going. Still waiting for a response. And the crowd loves it. A nice delay on that, as I'm sure Jeremy's heart was pounding on that one. Johnny Mack, a nice solid control flex down the left side of the fairway, leaving him a nice clean open approach to the green. As we transition here, I believe Ricky's shot did land out of bounds. There's a white disc in the bunker. Something to definitely avoid, but a lot of players were flirting with these shots. Any kind of tee shot that turns over or any of these rollers on the inside right are definitely challenged in that OB area. Good sized gallery out here on Championship Sunday. I'm going to estimate around 300-400 people out here on the Innova course for our final round. News just in. JohnE Store, a couple cards back, making a move. Currently in 5th place, shooting 5 down for the round. If you guys are looking for those scores, excuse me, on the JohnE Store call, he's actually in 4th place at 21 under. If you're looking for those scores, pdjlive.com for all up-to-date from the Men's Pro Open here during this final round. Rick will stand and deliver, sidearm out of the bunker, taking that penalty stroke, but making easy work as he's going to toss it up there for a drop-in par. Johnny Mac, low left side of the fairway, having to clear the green the entire way. A little skip, a little jump, a little tap of the pole. It's a little speedy going past the basket. There's an OB bunker behind that, so playing a little aggressive, a little more so than he thought. So Terry, playing disc golf on a golf course, how different is that compared to, you know, what these players are used to playing on a disc golf course? We're seeing the transition for disc golf be actually played on golf courses these days a lot more than in the past.
Well, what we're certainly seeing is less trees but longer holes. And when guys are throwing 500-600 feet, as we've seen by Eagle yesterday, we've seen by Paul, Ricky, all of our big throwers here, looks like we're making the best of it, giving these guys plenty of challenge and lots of opportunity to air out these huge shots.
It's a thing of beauty, really. You know, these discs are meant to go far. With disc technology increasing over the last decade or so, these discs are going faster and flying farther than ever. And it's really nice to watch these disc athletes display their skill and what they train and how far they can actually throw these discs. It's spectacular to watch, and it's a great thing for the spectators to really witness. There you go. I need it back. Looking for a call here. Germ, his roller actually tailed off down left side. Stood up for a second, but then finished left at the end. We said this hole is 715 feet, and he's actually gone past the hole. As the group makes a consensus call, trying to figure out where he is and what the call might be. There is a bunker long right of the basket that will play with that one-stroke penalty and play where it lies. Well, looking where Germ is right now, calling it safe back there. Well, it's actually Eagle's lie. Apologize for that. Eagle went past the pin. And still waiting to see where Germ's ended up. As I must have been walking and talking, Germ actually threw his approach already, so you all saw that. I was calling something else. Eagle making a safe little chip onto the green. Should be an easy tap-in birdie. Johnny Mac left with about 25 feet into the headwind, slight uphill. A nice extension follow through. So after Eagle's mammoth drive, little chip to the basket and in for the birdie 3, looking to make up for a few of those pop outs and spit outs early in the round. As the players clean up on hole number 10, transition over to 11. Guys, join us in a moment. Stay tuned.
I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and I've caught up with Big Germ just before going out for the 4th and final round. Big Germ, I'm going to just lead in right away and tell you, you screwed up my saying. We had 3 Micks and a Rick, and now we got a Coling. How did you get added to this lead card?
Micks and a Rick, oh my goodness. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it. When I saw the way that the placements were shaping up, saw that I was in 5th place, and I was expecting to be the top of the second card and come from behind and swoop first place without them knowing about me. But I guess they're just going to have to see me play my round in first person, so that's okay.
I guess we're forced to that.
Yeah,
that's what you're telling us. All right, so we heard Eagle talk a little bit about being very aggressive. Do you have any different game plan, whether it's now that you're on the lead card versus the second card?
It makes no difference to me where I'm playing, who I'm playing with. If the shot's there, I'm feeling confident to go for it, I'm going to go for it. And if not, then I'll go for the next best thing. But yeah, at this point, it's about position. Not saying that Rick's out of grasp. He's 8 strokes ahead of me, but I don't really expect to see him not play well. He's just a machine right now. So all I can do is play as well as I can, and hopefully jump a few more spots. Going from 38th place after the first round to 7th place after the second round, and then up to 5th after the third. It's I'm just happy to be in the spot. I'm just being surprised to have made it this far up. So, just try to put together a solid round today and, see how it works out.
All right. Well, I think you led me right to my next question, which was how did this course treat you when you played it the first time? This is the one course that you played twice this weekend. Will you make any adjustments from the last time that you played the course?
Hopefully not, because I played really well. I shot a 49, tied with Eagle for, I guess, course record. I was throwing some really big aggressive shots and putting them right where I wanted to. I'd say I had 2, if not 3, bonus birdies out there that even the long throwers are probably not getting. So it was a really good round. Made a few mistakes, though. I've made a few mistakes each round so far, so I'd like to make adjustments on those holes and try to stay as consistent as I have for the rest of the holes on the course. And if I can come in somewhere around low 50s, even break into the 40s again, it would be an incredible way to finish this event.
All right, well, he's got an uphill battle trying to chase down the scorching Ricky Wysocki. Big Germs, well, you got him by what, maybe a foot or so in height at least? So maybe that's
2 inches.
Okay, maybe that's an advantage.
2 inches.
This is Big Germ. We wish you the best of luck throughout the round, and we'll see you out there 5th on the card.
Thanks, Derek. Appreciate it.
And Big Germ seemed to have made the same mistake that we saw from Paul McBeth. And Big Germ is short and right, just as we saw with Paul McBeth.
That forehand shot right in Ricky's wheelhouse. Leaves it out right, brings it back, and sticks it close to the basket.
And at 375 feet, JohnE McCray going with a turnover putter shot that is moving toward the pin and getting an applause from the gallery. I know you had mentioned it just a few holes ago, and also we listened to Big Germ talk to us before the round about having 5 people on the card. That became evident at one point today when a few holes back the players started walking down the fairway after there were 4 tee shots. Again, something that we're not really used to here, Avery.
Yeah, it's just something so routine as a player. You're used to playing in threesomes at some tournaments, foursomes most, especially at these larger events. It really helps with just the flow of the overall play throughout the round. And like I said, with the cut and the extra players making the cut into the pro field, they felt like they'd have an addition of another player on the lead card, which is not absolutely slowed anything down too much, but it's all about that kind of routine and what you're used to. And having that 5th player at the back of that card, they walked on before he actually even threw a tee shot.
And Johnny and Jenny McCray always taking in the most of their tour life. Even just a moment ago, also stopping as we moved down the cart path. Johnny looked up and to the right and saw a cat laying in a window of a nearby house. They, of course, have cats with them on tour. And I know the rest of our players here are looking for birdies here on hole number 11.
Tough lineup right there. He's stuck in the reeds a little bit with a low ceiling, but trying to toss it off this palm tree in front of him. So really a tough reed, crosswind, a lot of things going on and factor in, and really tough to even get it aligned.
And Big Germ again pacing it off to see if he's inside or outside the 10-meter circle.
Online, just not the height with the low ceiling tree in front of him. Tough to tell from our vantage point, but actually when Eagle threw his shot, it got a little fast and skippy and actually did tail. It did tail right and long. They're saying it's in bounds. A cart path is actually not playing out of bounds. It's playing inbounds. He had picked up his lie already. We're going to have a little situation here as they try to determine where his disc came to rest.
Yeah, what they will do is simply replace his lie where the group agrees that it was. First, they're going to double check the caddy guide. We see Paul McBeth and Eagle McMahon looking at the caddy guide, again, so many times on this course, do you find that the cart path and beyond is OB, and this is one of the situations where it's not the case. So McMahon, instead of having a putt for saving a 3 from inside 30 feet, he still has a long birdie attempt. And that is a lesson at home, which we'll get to in a moment. JohnE McCray will be up to putt next for birdie. And just low as McCray is looking at the downhill putt. Again, Avery, that was an unintentional pickup of Eagle McMahon's lie, so the group made sure to come to a consensus as to where it was last originally placed. I should say where it came to rest. That's what I was trying to spit out there, Avery. So the group simply replaced it. Eagle played from there, and he's going to walk off with a 3.
So as Paul McBeth at the start of this hole was within 3 strokes, made a error in judgment with the crosswind, leaving the drive short. Ricky capitalizing, putting near the basket, dropping in for 2, and extending that lead to 4 strokes.
We're 2/3 of the way complete during our final round at the GCC. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
And Avery, as we are tucked down here just behind the players on the tee, our second camera indicated that Eagle's shot had come in and hit the bottom of the pin and then rolled to about 10 to 15 feet away. Solid shot by McMahon, and even McMahon himself has no idea just how good of a shot that really was.
Yeah, he's been on point all around. With other than the lone bogey he took when McBeth got the eagle on hole 7, he's been playing some solid golf, and the shots and the lines are just frozen ropes, perfectly on point as he's hitting the basket on hole number 12.
In case there were any shots that you could not see clearly, make sure you tune in to Spin TV. Central Coast is out here. Ian and the rest of the crew doing a phenomenal job this week, bringing you shot-by-shot coverage, all posted to the Spin TV. And off the top of the basket, that carries toward the OB. However, he is in fact safe. And Big Germ, after letting that go wide right on his tee shot, gives it an effort, however comes up short for the birdie.
Walking up to Rick, skip off the top, did stay in bounds backside of the green. He'll be next to putt.
And Rick bringing it in the 1 full meter as you're allowed anytime you're an OB. And Ricky, who is so solid with the putter, even when going 25 past the basket on the birdie attempt, makes easy cleanup on the return. This is Johnny McCray from 22 feet for birdie. And great putt by Johnny McCray. I'm going to have to give him at least 26 feet on that one. I think McBeth looks to be about 22. And McBeth letting one slip by as he was in position to gain a stroke back on Ricky Wysocki after Ricky took the par. That's going to slip by, and Eagle McMahon's got a easy one for birdie here. McMahon will tap in. A little earlier, Avery, I caught up with Steve Hill from Alta World, who's also bringing media to a new level here in disc golf. Shortly after our players tap out on 12, we'll catch up with Steve Hill from Alta World. We'll be back in a few moments at the 2017 Gentlemen's Club Challenge. Joined here by Steve Hill of Alta World. Steve, you've been out there hustling around, bringing disc golf coverage to the next level with so many different articles and podcasts. Tell us what's going on over at Alta World and how you're growing.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it. I don't think we're hustling quite as much as you guys, but no, we're doing our best. We like to come out here, talk to the players, talk to everyone, and just kind of get the story behind the story, and really our goal is just to cover disc golf like the professional sport that it is. That's our goal.
Well, we're seeing articles of all types come from you guys, editorials, as well as usually the latest and greatest, everything that's breaking. You're on the phone calling people and hunting down the story wherever you go. How do you get all those great leads?
Sometimes it's just lucky. Sometimes I listen to you. Sometimes people will come to me. It's just as we've grown, it's evolved, and we've been fortunate to build some relationships with people who are excited about what we're doing.
And besides the print, you guys are also doing a podcast, a regular podcast. Tell everyone what that entails and when they can find it.
Yeah, we do a weekly podcast. It's called The Upshot. It's available through our website on all the regular podcasting channels and everything. And you know, throughout the season, we'll be breaking down tournament coverage, trying to get player interviews, everything like that. Just trying to keep it short, sweet, to the point, and still get all the news that we can.
So everything Smashbox Podcast doesn't do. Not short or sweet.
They're not shorter. It's sweet.
Okay.
It's sweet.
All right, well, we'll take that. Did we see also a call-out for maybe even more help or work or employees over at Ultra World?
We're always looking for anyone who wants to contribute. So send us an email, discgolf@ultiworld.com. If you got a resume and some writing chops, we're always looking for that.
Well, if I ever fire myself, I know where I'm coming next. This is Steve Hill of Ultra World. They're doing great work. Make sure you guys check them out. We're going to get back to the action. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thanks, Terry.
And I believe we saw a shot come in and hit just in front of the bunker, in front of the basket, I should say. As we are trying to move into position here on hole number 13.
Next to tee, Ricky Wysocki. It's a par 3, 368 feet, a slight uphill, bunker about 5 feet short of the basket. A very technical hole. Johnny Mac there a little wide right, hitting the fence and kicking out of bounds. Eagles going to be a tough call as he hits short in front of the basket. McBeth disregarding all that and going at it, and the run in the ace on hole number 13, 368 feet. Ace by Paul McBeth. Crowd is going wild. Insane. He's going to run this one out as he makes the charge. 6 holes to go. I was going to mention earlier, there's nothing better than being here live as a spectator, and you guys are watching it live, but man, to be on site as that dropped in, you could just feel the vibe right now, the energy, and the crowd is hopping right now. How do you throw after that, Terry?
I don't know. I can't even throw that far to begin with, let alone watching an ace drop in by McBeth. And here comes one wide right. That's tough to follow, Avery.
As proven right there. Wow, insane. I think Paul's still feeling pretty pumped up as he's making his way back to the fairway. I should get him over here for a second. Let's hear it. What was it?
Champ Thunderbird.
Champ Thunderbird, a slight hyzer, drains it. Drains it with his signature disc, no doubt about it.
Avery, that was such an amazing shot. We've got it for you again thanks to our replay. Gio and Chad on the cameras. Let's see that again.
The basket, a very technical hole. Johnny Mac threw a little
wide right, hitting the fence and kicking out of bounds. Eagles going to be a tough call as he hits short in front of the basket. McBeth disregarding all that and going at it, and the run in the ace on hole number 13, 368 feet.
And with all of the commotion finally settling down, we've got Jeremy Colling with what looks to be a forehand stance up against the fence on this right-hand side. Big Germ going along with his Firebird forehand. And there's no better way to pick up 2 strokes on the rest of the card, or at least the leader that we know he's trying to chase down in Ricky Wysocki. McBeth will move to 28 under par, putting him momentarily 2 behind Wysocki. And Ricky, anything short of heroics here on on this throw will leave him just 2 ahead of McBeth with a handful of holes to play.
Now we look at that. That ace was phenomenal. You know, the way that went in, you could tell about 45, 50 feet out that was heading directly at the chains. And what better way to finish it off than to run down the entire length of the fairway, giving high fives to the gallery along the way. Unreal.
And for a moment, that putter turned over and was heading toward the sand trap OB. However, it finished strong. Ricky will have a tap in for what should be an easy 3 at this point. McCray with a valiant effort up and over the basket. Eagle McMahon, who was actually first to throw, landed in the sand trap from our vantage point. That's what it looked as if. And Big Germ's going to have to really commit to this putt. He's got the OB bunker just directly behind the basket. And he's got a tailwind, so he's going to need to put this up in the air a little bit higher. Make sure he can get it up and over the rim. He's going to ask the gallery to part ways directly behind the pin. This is a big moment here. This could be a big swing if Germ doesn't fully commit to this putt.
Up and in with confidence, tailwind, like you said, he'll leave it a little higher, and no doubt about it, knocks it down. He does take a bogey after the errant shot tee.
And McMahon also will put in here, but that's going to be for the OB3, or I should say hazard / bunker 3. Johnny McCray is in. Paul McBeth 1, the rest of the group 13. We're moving on after the ace by Paul McBeth right here at the Gentlemen's Club Challenge.
TheSpeedTV.com. I'll take the law into my own hands. I don't care if nobody understands. I'll take the law into my own hands. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, I'm gonna go my way. No matter what you say.
huge shot here by Paul McBeth. Eagle McMahon will be second to tee.
Yeah, this is a very long hole. It's measuring around 570 feet. A slight cross, maybe left to right. And I saw Eagle go past the basket here during the second round, so impressive display of power and distance.
And Avery Eagle is swapping out disc, going with something a little bit more stable. And he opted to keep it low, playing a little bit of a skip right down the center of the fairway. Ricky Wysocki with a 2-stroke lead here on hole 14.
Ricky Wysocki putting the bump and run off the tee pad, throwing it low, but getting that nice fairway skip as it skips at least 120 feet forward, middle cut fairway.
And Big Germ with a gentle turnover that seems to be coming back nicely. Possibly the best angle of the group.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Paul McBeth, a 2-stroke deficit to Ricky Wysocki with the current lead. Paul McBeth 8 under par through 13 holes with 2 eagles. That hole one counted as an eagle and an eagle on hole number 7. So he's making a late charge here, 2 strokes back. You can just feel the vibe, the excitement, the energy right now.
We are also walking into the stiffest wind that we've experienced for this entire round. Just as Ricky Wysocki had stepped up to the tee, it seemed as if it had bumped up a few miles per hour. JohnE McCray visibly frustrated with the tee surfaces. I know Avery talked about it a number of times. Various tee surfaces that these players are playing from, not as consistent as they're maybe used to, and it certainly affected not only JohnE McCray's tee shot, but also the result.
Other hot rounds and players coming in off some cards that are few back. Bobby Music currently at 17 under par through 15 holes, making a late run charge, currently in 6th place. Also Nate Sexton had moved to 4th place at 6 under par for the round, 22 under for the tournament.
One of the most rare sights we'll see today is JohnE McCray throwing a forehand shot. And not getting the skip that you would have assumed he would have got, but that still will work for Wysocki. McMahon just a few feet behind Paul McBeth and Jeremy Colling. And that trickles over the backside but gets the safe indicator. McBeth a little gentle on the approach, keeping it short side of the basket. Big Germ with a light chuckle. Again, not maybe the effort he was hoping for. It looked like he was playing a skip off the short grass, bound on the green. However, either not enough power or not the angle he was looking for.
Yeah, both the shots he's been laughing at afterwards are the ones it seems like he's not taking his time on, taking it for granted, and you can't do it out here.
Uphill turbo putt attempt by McCray. Eagle going just past the basket here on his approach shot. He'll have a tailwind putt, but throwing uphill. Very difficult combination. And not difficult at all for Eagle McMahon. Solid putt. The rest of the players are approximately 12 to 18 feet away. And with a stern stroke, as Avery was alluding to, Wysocki is in.
Don't do that. No.
And a heartbreaker here for Big Germ. That, in fact, is going to roll onto the green. And he is going to pick up from the OB green area and move back to where he was last putting from. And Avery, that is a widely underutilized rule, which Avery took, or correction, which Big Germ took advantage of. Anytime that you go OB from throwing a shot, you are either to take it from where it was last in bounds, which is most often the case, or from where you last threw from. McBeth into the center of the chains.
Now, Terry, you mentioned earlier Paul's setting up on a straddle putt. I don't know if it might have been the hillside or if he has maybe a little tightness in his knee or back, as we experienced last year and saw him going a straddle putt over a standard up linear stance.
We'll talk about that more on the next hole. Heartbreaker here for Big Germ. That, in fact, is going to roll onto the green, and he is going to...
You deserve an elite golf experience. Take an epic journey through the best landscapes Las Vegas has to offer. Experience 144 holes of spectacular golf at our 6 professionally designed championship courses, featuring Spanish Trail Country Club, Mountain Falls Golf Club, and Wild Horse Golf Club. Call about Elite Golf packages for locals and tourists. Elite Golf, the new face of golf management. Book your tee time today.
Avery, hole 15 is 558 feet. Watching Paul McBeth throw a destroyer that was moving to the right. Is he going to be safe over there?
It actually does cinch off toward the middle of the fairway, halfway down the fairway, and it does open up substantially near the basket. We're going to have to see when we get up there.
And McMahon flirting with that left-hand side. And it gets a good skip and great carry.
Johnny Mac a little low, getting the skip forward. Center cut fairway a little shorter than he wanted. Jerm playing the big flip and ride, carrying, tailing off to the right side, waiting for indication down by the gallery. A couple sets of claps. It is a long distance hole at 558 feet. Coming down the stretch, 4 holes to go. 2-stroke lead by Ricky Wysocki over Paul McBeth. Thing I want to mention from earlier was that Ricky Wysocki, virtually untouchable the first 3 rounds, playing and executing perfectly, sustaining a really commanding lead by 5-6 strokes going into the final round. Now I said I was going to take maybe some other factors contributing to players having a chance to catch them, and with the winds picking up as we're made the turn coming back to the clubhouse, these last 4 holes are going to be battling into a brutal headwind. So it could be a factor that these other players are looking for. We'll see if Ricky Wysocki can step to the occasion like a true champion.
Good line.
A great standstill approach there by Johnny McCray with his putter.
Nice toss.
Rick going forehand putter, a little skip and a roll, trying to play the downhill slope to the basket. Looks like it came up a little bit short.
And McMahon settles in just underneath the pin. Paul McBeth will be next to throw. Paul finds himself on the furthest right-hand side of this fairway, just short of the cart path. Plays it up, and he's hoping for a roll that might bring it to the pin, and it's done just the opposite. He'll be left with a little bit of work there.
In this heated battle, I saw Ricky Wysocki actually walk over to see where Paul was positioned and see where his second shot was gonna take him. And yeah, Paul right there with little fault in execution, leaves it a little bit outside the circle with a puck coming back in the tailwind.
And Big German position for a long jump putt does not convert, but just the fact that he is up this close to the pin, able to attack it. Once this pin sits in a lower lying area, these players have no reason to not be aggressive when attacking this basket. Paul McBeth is going to be putting directly back at us from approximately circle's edge.
Whoa!
And left side chain and in. Earlier you had mentioned, we had talked about Paul and his straddle putt that we saw last year during the injury. Steve Hill from Alta World had informed me just before the round that Paul's just slightly more comfortable with that stance at the moment. And never a doubt by Wysocki.
So as the winds pick up with those putts, we're dealing with true professionals here, and I really didn't think it mattered too much on what side of the basket they are because they're such phenomenal putters. But Paul McBeth, being a very aggressive putter, that was the most ideal position, even at that distance, being a tailwind situation where it just guided in there, catching left side and in.
Just 3 holes to play. We're moving on. You're watching the final round at the 2017 GCC. know you've mentioned it more than once that these final few holes are going right into the teeth of the wind that has picked up. I feel like with each passing minute, we are gaining more and more wind. A couple of clouds have come into the sky, otherwise still a beautiful day. We've got some great drama unfolding here in the last 3 holes.
Yeah, we got a battle at the top here with Ricky and Paul. 3 holes to go, and we're on hole number 16, 733 feet, par 4. One of the longer par 4s. They just faced a slightly shorter hole, being a par 4 as well. But lots of danger. We got a golf green short of the basket, and danger both sides, OB. And we're going to see the second shots on the position shot, very critical. Also want to mention a scoring update. We got Bobby Music and Nate Sexton making a late round move, tied for 4th place at 22 under, 8 down and 6 down respectively.
And we feel the side here. I don't know if this is a slightly lower spot on the course. What a mash, though, by Ricky Wysocki. Paul McBeth's going to need to match that here to keep things close. And Paul short, but looks like a great shot there.
Yeah, both those approaches being in similar position, about 375, probably sub 400 foot approach into a very small green backside drop off, and lots of danger all around.
And McCray looks to have CTP. These guys are all one-upping each other. 16th fairway. Eagle McMahon is off to our left. McMahon sitting currently at 27 under par. Johnny McCray at 21. Wysocki out in the lead at 32. McBeth at 30 and Coling at 17. Also a nice shot by McMahon. Puts himself within 20 feet of the pin. Big Germ's asking for his forehand to sit, and it's done so nicely. He also finds himself within 25 feet of the pin. Challenged by a number of factors out here. It seems as if, although we're in a relatively wide open area, Avery, the cellular signal seems to not want to cooperate as much as it has been the rest of the day. We're going to get closer to the pin and finish strong here with the final 2 holes. We're glad you guys are tuned in for live disc golf. This is, of course, the PDGA National Tour opener here for the 2017. Next week, we'll be moving so many of our professionals down to the Disc Golf Pro Tour taking place at the Memorial Championships. There's been a PDGA National Tour opener this year. It has changed up a little bit, and we're seeing the Las Vegas Disc Golf Club play host to us along with the Wild Horse Golf Club. It's been an amazing week here in Las Vegas.
A little scoring update off the chase cards. Making some movement. Kayla Viska gets in a tie with Bobby Music and Nate Sexton for 4th place.
And Paul McBeth just will not go away. He is just banging on the door of Ricky Wysocki. 2 back. He will not lose any ground here on the 16th hole. And Eagle also in. The basket perched on top of a small hillside. And Big Germ is left. His woes continue here. And hitting center pole by Ricky Wysocki, an easy birdie 3. Looks as if Big Germ is still out. And as we move here off of 16, we're going to be back with you guys in a few moments for the final 2 holes right here at the 2017 GCC.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flashlight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job. Go in. Oh.
For me, it's all about the exercise.
For me, it fits into my busy life.
For me, it's my passion.
For us, it doesn't cost much to play.
For me, it's fun.
And welcome back as we everyone, as we are joining you here in the progress of hole 17's tee shots. Most recently we saw JohnE McCray turn his over, similar to what we saw from Paul McBeth. Ricky Wysocki, however, is in the center of the fairway with an easy up and down look, and Eagle McMahon is coming right at us. And a great shot by Eagle McMahon. He is exactly pin high, looking at approximately 90 feet to the pin, but he is pin high with the basket. Last to tee will be Big Germ. And a great shot there by Big Germ, almost pin high. However, he's looking closer to 40 feet. This is a 538-foot hole, playing slightly downhill. We're going to see the gallery and the spectators that are accompanying the leader card as they're moving down here on hole 17. It has been a gorgeous day out here. We are on the final two holes, the 71st and 72nd, for those that can do that quick math at home, of this PDGA National Tour event. And Avery, Paul's making his run, but that last tee shot is not going to put him in very good position. Right now, he may need some kind of help out of Ricky if he wants to chase him down on the 18th hole.
Yeah, unfortunately he left that low inside right, turned it over, and he's going to be caught back behind some bushes with some work to even try to get it by the pin for a par. Ricky made the play in the lead by 2 through the nice hyzer out to the open, leaving himself a really open second shot. If Paul has any chance on these next 2 holes, especially going in 18, he's going to have to push all in.
And off in the distance, we're going to see JohnE McCray will likely be first to throw. He had turned over hard onto the right side of the fairway, which would be the left side of the screen. And he is even obstructed from where we are. He's about to release his disc here in just a moment. And a very simple approach that actually skips up and hits the front of the basket.
He almost tried to jump it in there. He was trying some other shots yesterday, trying to skip it off the green. Saw a couple trick shots out here on the golf course with the very fast fairways and greens. So a valiant attempt by JohnE McCray.
McBeth will be outstretched to his left. Looks like he's got a forehand angle at this. Solid approach by Paul McBeth. Wysocki will be third to approach. Correction, I think he's going to wait for Eagle McMahon, who is going to come directly toward us.
Eagle taking no time at all, sets, releases it, throws it up by the basket. Sitting in solo third place right now.
And Big Germ left with the lone remaining opportunity at birdie here. However, there are hanging tree branches between him and the pin. That was on line, Avery, but as Big Germ saw as soon as he walked up to his lie that those hanging branches would be in between him and the basket, and those are exactly what caught him up. He thought he'd just gun for them, hoping to break through. However, they dropped it down immediately.
I was actually hoping he was going to go skip shot for that one and entertain the crowd a little bit. He's a few back at this point, and really, it's really about putting on a show with that massive drive on 17 and really intended spectators. If you guys are checking out the scores right now, pdjlive.com, all live scoring. There's some players from the second and third cards making their moves. We talked about Bobby Music, Nate Sexton, Kayla Viska, all making some pretty good jumps here in the final closing holes. We got one hole to play here at the 2017 Gentlemen's Class. We'll be back with you in a moment. Stay tuned.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
And you mentioned a moment ago, Avery, that really there's nothing left for Big Germ to do but go big here in these final attempts that he's got remaining. We're out here on 18. We saw 4 very safe, conservative shots all come off the tee, which is really the smart play here. Big Germ decided to bite off a little bit more than the rest of the players. He's going to try and make sure he gets up and down for that birdie 3.
Yeah, as you mentioned, those first 4 shots rattled off pretty quick. Not taking too much time. This first shot is a layup, and then crossing over the second shot. This hole lays out at 732 feet, par 4. And with Germ sitting more than a few back, he's got a lot of spectators and a lot of crowd to entertain. So he did go for the big hero shot, clearing into the second fairway, leaving a very short second shot approach to the green.
And Ricky gives the fist pumps. He knew that's exactly what he needed to do. Avery, I think this game of chess is about to come to an end, and Paul McBeth has been just put into check. Wysocki knowing that he just needed a par here, and even with a par 4 and McBeth taking a 3, he would still have a one-stroke victory.
As I brought up before, Paul McBeth, because he's going to have to push all in at this point. I mentioned to him at the tee pad, and he's actually going to wait for a second shot to push all in and really try to force this. He's really going to have to knock this down. He did it from a longer distance before, throwing it in on hole number 13. So with this shot here, he needs this to tie.
And Paul McBeth is up and carrying right. That's going to hyzer back and finish. However, he is still going to be short. And as we said, that's just not going to be enough of an effort from Paul McBeth. He made a charge, shot very well today. However, Ricky Wysocki has this locked down.
Yeah, Paul McBeth was in a tough position, 2 back on the final hole. He's going to have to go fairway ace to even try to force a play out with Ricky. Ricky throwing that second shot inbounds, pretty much put a lock. All he needs is to go up and down and walk away with the win.
Great turnover shot there by JohnE McCray. Avery, we're going to rush down the fairway, see if we can get a best possible angle here. Big Germ has yet to throw his second shot. And again, Big Germ frustrated with his shot, making a few audible noises, saying that was not his best effort.
Yeah, with the first big shot clearing to the second fairway, it left a very short, manageable approach to the basket. Just saw that forehand inside with the crosswind going left to right.
And as we look to our right, as we're moving up the fairway, we're going to see a pan of the massive gallery that has welcomed our lead card here to the 18th and final hole. The conclusion of the Gentlemen's Club Challenge just a few throws from now. And Ricky Wysocki has a simple up and down. Well, it should be relatively simple. We have seen crazy things. However, this should be a routine for Wysocki.
Ricky Wysocki making easy work of this approach. A little fist pump. And locks it down, about a 5-footer to cap off this win.
McBeth, of course, being aggressive, however, not enough here. And Eagle on point, just short. Shortly after the round, we will catch up with Ricky Wysocki.
Big Germ looking to capitalize after the errant second shot, and does. He's in for birdie 3 on 18 to close out the tournament. We're going to have JohnE McCray putting back at us. There's OB line back there. I believe he found it, taking his meter relief, and putting directly back at us. This is going to be a really cool line. Dead center and in.
And McBeth with a solid round. In fact, I believe the hottest round of the day. However, just not enough holes to track down Ricky Wysocki. And Ricky. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky Wysocki in for the National Tour opener here in 2017. Eagle McMahon getting the vlog in. Well, he's getting beat by Ricky Wysocki. Ricky getting the congratulatory high fives and hugs from everyone. He's going to count up his scorecard. As soon as he's done doing that, we will catch up with him for a quick interview. McBeth making his way over, giving him the high five. We're going to make sure that Ricky's got it. We're going to make sure his cards are in. You tell us. Whatever. We want to make sure that he gets everything taken care of. Of course, golf is first. Media is second. He's going to add up the scores over here. This five-sim certainly put on a show. We're seeing Wysocki at 33 under par. I believe that actually looks like a two-stroke. Yes, in fact, a two-stroke advantage over Paul McBeth, as we talked about. McMahon 27, McCray 22, Coling at 18. However, those are unofficial scores. And the rest of the group will all add up their scorecards here before we can catch up with Ricky Wysocki. Avery, quite a show they put on for us.
Yeah, it was great. It was, it wasn't just Ricky running away with it the entire time. Paul McBeth with 2 eagles during that round. That ace out there, getting a little excitement out of the crowd. It definitely gave him a chance. He was 2 strokes back for a number of holes coming down the stretch, and he made it so it wasn't just a runaway for Ricky. He made it very entertaining. That's what disc golf's all about. You guys tuned into a great one. Very exciting for all of us on location, but I'm glad you guys got to enjoy it. At home, live disc golf on Spin TV Smashbox. Bringing it to you from Vegas.
All right, again, the five-some are adding up their final scores. They will get those tabulated and officially submitted, and at that point we'll be able to catch up with our champion. All right, and coming on over to a nice, one of the many sunny spots that we find here. Actually, we're going to turn around so that the sun's in our, come on down here, Rick.
All right.
Sorry, we're going to move on over, make sure everybody can see you. And Rick, first and foremost, congratulations. You've opened up the PDGA National Tour with a victory. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, it was one of my first actually wire-to-wire wins. So that doesn't happen a lot. It's tough to do, and as you can see, it's definitely mentally draining. You can't let up, and that's what I did. I was glad to have kept focused the whole time.
We knew that we were going to see a battle today. You had a sizable lead, but anything can happen. There's long par fours. There's lots of great golfers here. You had a 5-stroke advantage, but one of your biggest nemesis, Paul McBeth, he was trying to hunt you down.
Yeah, he played really well, but I told myself in the beginning of the round, I don't have to win by 7. I can win by 2, 3, or 4, which is what happened. I could kind of see that coming, and I was totally fine with it. I knew that coming down the stretch I'd have to still make some shots, and that's exactly what I did. So I was just happy to stick to my game plan, like I said, and win by 2 or 3 or 4 instead of 7, because that really, those extra strokes, you're pacing and trying to catch up to his great shots, and I didn't need to do that.
No, you didn't. Well, you had averaged more than 1060 golf coming into the 4th and final round, which is great by everyone's account. You get to a hole like 13, you watch Paul throw in an ace, for instance. Does that rattle you at all, or are you just sticking with the game plan?
Yeah, I was still in the driver's seat. He had a lot of momentum going, but it really it didn't bother me too much. I was sticking to my game plan no matter what. 7 strokes is a lot of strokes, and I was just glad to stick to my game plan, like I said, and win by 2 or 3 instead of I didn't have to win by 7.
Well, it was beautiful out here. What would you say were some of the keys to your success out here for this 4-round event over 3 different courses?
I think just with all the great players, just sticking to my game plan and not deviating from it at all. Just the fact that I was winning from the first round to the last round. Like I said, that's really tough to do. So I'm kind of proud of myself as far as that goes, because it's like I said, it's tough to do. So I think the biggest thing I can take from the tournament is just sticking to my game plan and really just doing it from start to finish, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, you use the term momentum a lot. This has got to carry. You've got the Aussie Open, you've got the PDGA National Tour opener here in Vegas, and now just literally within 48 to 72 hours, you're going to be teeing off to start the Pro Tour, another 4-round event down in Arizona where you spent some of your off season. How will you recover just in the next 48 hours?
Well, like you said, I spend the winters there, so I'm not going to rush over there and practice like a lot of these other people. I've got the courses dialed in, and I'm going to take a day or 2 to rest and not really fight with the crowd. So I'm going to take a day to rest, and I'm looking forward to starting off the Pro Tour, like you said.
So if anyone does want to beat you, are they going to have to find you on possibly a poker table tonight? Is that the only chance they have to beat Ricky Wysocki?
Yeah, I had been playing a little bit of poker here and there. So yeah, you catch me at the Venetian 1-2.
There it is. Ricky Wysocki is your National Tour champion here. We'd like to, of course, congratulate Paige Pierce for her phenomenal play this weekend. She also took down the victory on the women's side. And from our side on the media, I'd like to send a huge shout out and thanks to everyone. Of course, everyone over at Innova, along with Spin TV, Jamie Thomas, coordinating everyone, Avery Jenkins, helping me out throughout the entire weekend, bringing us the coverage, Central Coast, bringing you live scoring and updates and videos the next day, along with the commentary. For JohnE V back in Milwaukee, along with Gary to the O on camera, Chad Inman, Avery Jenkins, Ricky Wysocki, myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We'll catch you next time when you step inside the Smash Box. And big, wow, what a huge putt. Solid putt by Johnny McCray, uphill 550 feet here, Avery. Is McBeth going to get enough to get up on that left side?
He absolutely unleashed on that shot, cleared the green.
What? Right into the center. And Ricky, who is so solid with the putter, even when going.
5 feet short of the basket. A very technical hole. Johnny Mac threw a little wide right, hitting the fence and kicking out of bounds. Eagles going to be a tough call as he hit short. Is going. 5 feet short of the basket. A very technical hole. JohnE back there a little wide right, hitting the fence and kicking out of bounds. Eagles going to be a tough call as he hits short in front of the basket. McBeth disregarding all that and going at it, and the run in the ace on hole number 13, 368 feet. Ace by Paul McBeth. Crowd is going wild. Insane. He's going to run this one out as he
and not difficult at all for Eagle McMahon. Solid putt. The rest of the players are approximately 12 to 18 feet away. And with a stern stroke, as Avery was alluding to, Wysocki is in. And a heartbreaker here for Big Germ. That, in fact, is going to roll onto the green, and he is going to pick up from the OB green. Whoa! And left side chain and in. And Paul McBeth.
Ricky Wysocki making easy work of this approach. A little